The infamous massacre that took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma 1 century ago holds important lessons for us today as we hear from New York Times columnist Charles Blow.
100 years ago today in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a black teenage shoe shiner named Dick Rowland stepped onto an elevator being operated by a 17-year-old white girl. Wild allegations about what happened on that elevator between the two teens would lead to one of the most notorious massacres in American history. Rowland was arrested the next morning, and the Tulsa Tribune printed an incendiary article claiming that the young man had attempted to assault the girl. A white mob descended on the courthouse, demanding that Rowland be turned over to them. Armed black men showed up to defend Rowland and prevent him from being lynched. Gunfire soon erupted. It would lead to what would become known as the Tulsa Massacre, as white people began to shoot black people on sight. As many as 300 people were killed and 8,000 were left homeless as the once thriving, self-sufficient black community of Greenwood, also known as Black Wall Street, was reduced to ashes. Rather than remember and atone for this atrocity, Tulsa began efforts to erase the incident from history. But it could not be erased from the memory of those who lived it. In 2018, I had the great honor of interviewing Olivia J. Hooker, one of the last known survivors of the Tulsa Massacre. She was a spry 103 years old when I met her. She would die just 2 months later. Hooker was a little girl at the time of the massacre, just 6 years old, and she remembers things as a child would. The terror of hiding with siblings beneath an oak dining table as the legs of white terrorists moved around it. It was the memory of those men destroying, defiling, or stealing all the beautiful things, the things that represented the reality of black refinement or held the possibility of black joy. They took a hatchet to my sister's piano. They poured oil all over my grandmother's bed. They took all the silverware that Mama had just got for Christmas. If anything looked precious, they took it. Her reflections illustrated clearly to me that this massacre wasn't only about an incident on an elevator or terror and mass murder. It was also about covetousness and spite, about the erasure of a black excellence that by its very existence posed a fundamental threat to white supremacy. Black Wall Street represented black prosperity even in an age of oppression, so white supremacy had to destroy it.